relatives, just do it. You don't want any other any other individuals to influence you one way or the other out there. Because after all, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for them. You're going to be the one doing the work, not them. So why listen to what they have to say if it's benefiting you? Seek instead the advice of someone who's actually done it already or who's actually doing it for positive influence or positive feedback. That'll help you along the way and not try to stop you. So that's out of the way. So what do you do next? You've interviewed for a couple companies. You have an idea of what it costs, right? Now what you do is you implement some of those things that they talked about. For instance, you might have a help desk job you interviewed for, and they say you need to know Active Directory. So what you do is you create a YouTube channel or video, and you talk about Active Directory, or you create your own podcast. You talk about Active Directory and what it is, what it's like. Talk about your experience if you have any, and you want to create content based on that. So why do you do this? What's the reason? Why do you want to do this? Why am I telling you to do this? So you need this because you need to separate yourself from your competition. Let's assume in your class, your college class or whatnot, right? There's 100 folks, 100 people. So out of the 100 people, how many of those individuals have a job while going to college? We don't know, but you would know. How many of those individuals out of 100 probably have an advantage that you don't have, such as maybe their relatives are a little better off than you are. So they have all the technology, they have the extra time that you don't have perhaps because they can do extra things. They have all the computer gadgets to do these type of things. So you have to work a little extra. You have to separate yourself from those type of individuals. Out of 100 folks, there are probably, out of those 100 people, you can probably figure out in your head what is your competition for getting, let's say, the United States. Let's say, so what you do is you pretend as if like 100 people, all of your class, there's a possibility to go to the States, let's just say, to get a job. And they're going to only take 5 people, 5 of the people there, and they're going to, okay, so now you say, out of the 100, who are those 5 individuals that I need to compete with? How can I compete with them? And then ask yourself, well, what do they know? What market or what value do they add to the market that I could actually add as well, or I could be better than, basically, right? That's what you're asking yourself. For instance, a YouTube channel, that's first things first right there. Not a lot of people in IT actually have YouTube channels. You would think they do, but they don't. There's not a lot of, relative to the number of YouTube channels, there's not a lot of people that have IT channels or in their own field, basically. So that's that. Second thing is create content, create a website, create something of value, create a course, create an ebook. What you're after telling the world that you have content. You're adding value to the marketplace, basically. That's the whole point here. So that's out of the way. So duplicate that process with countries like Canada, countries like Australia, countries like New Zealand. And so I'll tell you a little thing about this, right? In your country, wherever you are, you would think that it's easier or harder, right, to get a job. But I would submit to you it's probably easier than it is. There's less competition in your country than there is in the States. So why do I say that? In the States, there's knowledge everywhere. Everywhere there's knowledge. Everywhere you can go, people are trying to give you knowledge or help you out or give you something to make you better. I'd submit to you, but it's probably not like that where a lot of other people live. And that's what the culture is like here, actually. So, for instance, you go somewhere and you just have to ask somebody how to do something. Then they're probably going to show you how to do it. They're probably going to give you advice, free advice everywhere, right? They don't they don't have like a hang up to where they won't give you information. They want everybody to be successful. They want everybody, they want to share their knowledge. They want to help people, right? And it's been my experience. It's not always like that in other places because, of course, they're trying to get get their money. They're trying to get their benefit as well. Before they help other folks because there's it's kind of a bit of like a lack, not a lack, but it's like I need to get mine before I help you, basically. Versus the States is like, okay, we'll just help you out, help you out, help everybody out. So that's one aspect of it, right? So the other aspect of it is when you're here, everything, it costs money in the States. You may be from your culture may be around a lot of people. And it may be like you want to be around that type of individual, whoever those people are, your countrymen are basically, right? When you come to the States, people don't look at you like your nationality. They know maybe you're from a certain area based on how you speak or whatever, but they're just going to believe that you're American. They're not going to think of you as any other type of nationality. And when you come here, it's a bit of a culture shock, I imagine, to folks who come here for the first time. Because people just expect that you, if they think of you as, they look at you and say, oh, you're American, or you're from, maybe you were born in somewhere else, but now you're American, so maybe you think like us, basically, right? Which is not always the case. And so what happens is they expect you to know certain things. For instance, in an interview, that's prime example. When someone in the States says yes, or we'll take care of it, right? Usually it means like 90 whatever percent. It usually means, I want to take care of it. It's not always like that in other countries. Usually, sometimes a yes, maybe a maybe, or okay, I'll think about it. It doesn't always mean a definite yes. So that's the thing when you come here, that's probably a hurdle you're going to run into. The different interview and job search strategies at work. On this podcast, I want to talk about something I really don't talk a lot about, actually. And I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast don't live in the United States. They're not, they don't live here. They're not from here, United States. So I want to talk to you individuals out there who are not in the United States and who maybe are going to college now or who are in high school or are about to go to college. And I will say that it's not a perfect system, and that, let me start off by saying this. In order to come to the United States as an H-1B, the likelihood is that you need a degree. You need a 4-year degree if you're not from the United States, which that's just how it is, right? That's the likelihood is. That's just, the rules are like that, right? But if you live in the United States, of course, you don't need a degree to get a job. That's just other countries. And that's just how it's been, I think, for however many years. And it's unfortunate that some other countries out there, you need a 4-year degree just to get like a basic job, basic, job paying, minimum wage, basically. You need a degree to get that. So having said all that, and an understanding of whatever your dilemma is, whatever country you have, so that's out of the way. Now let's talk about how you can come here in the United States or a country like it. How can you use it to your advantage? So let's talk about that. So start off by, you're in high school or you're in college. Let's say you're in college. You just started college and you're in your first couple of months of college and you want to say, well, what do I need to do? So what you do is you create a resume, not a CV. So the British have like a CV, and in the States we use resumes. So what's the difference, right? for those who don't know. The CV, you'll have like your picture, your date of birth. It'll have like your religion. It'll have like your nationality, your passport number, your height, your weight, all that information on there. In the U.S., we don't use that. We just use the resume. So the resume is basically just name, address, phone number, email address, and then like where you've worked, your objective, and then the places you've worked, your education, your certifications. So what you want to do is you want to gear your resume. You want to gear it towards the United States, a resume. So basically, here's the strategy. Put in there your name. I'm sorry, your name, your email address, and you want to put a stateside phone number. So how do you get that? Google Talk. You can get a free number from Google, like Google Talk will give you a free number. That's what you want. That's what you're after. See, because when you talk to a person in the States, they don't have to know that you're not in the States, and you're not after. What you're after is you're after the interview. That's your whole purpose here. And so you put in your resume, your objective, you put on like your degree you're getting, whatever that degree is, and you put as if you have it. So you're just putting, instead of the year, you put like continuing education and put the current year. So whatever the year is, space continue education or continue education, or expected, a certain year. And then that'll enable you to talk about it. So that's out of the way. So first thing is have a resume out there. You gotta have a resume that's geared towards what they accept in the United States, with an address, or maybe just a name, an email address, and a stateside number. Once you have that, start applying to every single job you can in the United States. Because what you're after the interview. That's the whole point here. You want to get as many interviews as possible. And I would say in the first month, try to get at least 2 interviews. Apply as many times as possible. Take about 4. So in a week's time, block out 3 blocks of 4 hours. So you have segments of 4-hour windows or 3-hour windows. So find in a week's time 3 4-hour blocks of windows time. So, today you have 4 hours, Thursday you have 4 hours, or 4 blocks of 3-hour time, meaning like, Monday you have a block of 3 hours. So take that time each week to dedicate on looking for jobs and job growth and resumes and whatnot, doing all that. Doing the interview, going to as many interviews as possible, write down the information that they tell you on the interviews. What you're after is you're after the knowledge. What are they teaching me? What do I not know? What do I need to know for my future job, basically? Make a list of that, Find out the price, or rather the salary that they're going to pay, so you kind of have an idea. Calculate that. Figure it out. Go on. And the second thing to do after you know that, or after you're doing that, is to go on that city and then to find out what the cost of an apartment is, what the cost of a car or the public transportation, food. Find out as much information as possible about that area, because they're probably going to ask you some information about where you're from, what do you know about the area, basically. And if you know a lot about the area, that's chit chat that you can talk about, basically. What it does for you is it helps you to understand the salary in that area for that particular job. Let's just say IT. Let's say help desk, right? Let's just call it help desk. So it helps you to understand what are the jobs paying for help desk, say in California, say in Silicon Valley, let's say Santa Clara, right? Okay, you understand that, how much they make per hour in Santa Clara. Then you understand what's the food like. Then you understand what what are the housing costs like? So you want to understand all that information after, during your interview process as well. So you have as much information as possible. So that way, when it comes time to maybe accept an offer, even though you live in another country, you can know what you're worth or what you can expect to get paid. And then, so if they say like $10 an hour, you can know, well, that's not enough money for that area, so I won't be able to take it. So during this time, I would say that don't tell anybody they're doing this, your friends or relatives.
Okay, so thanks everybody for listening to this podcast, and have a great day.